Well, hello, everybody. My name is Bob Nelson, and I am the owner of a small company called Proxima Emporium. And I'm going to talk to you today about using eBooks in your business and kind of what the history of that is and why you might want to consider creating some content in the form of an ebook, whether it's for your staff or your clients or even just for yourself. Uh, so let's get started. All right. So a little bit about me for those of you that don't know. I am today representing Proxima Emporium, which is an artist promotional organization, mostly writers to promote their books and things of that nature. But I also own a small publishing company called Brick Cave Media. I am also the executive director for a nonprofit here in Mesa, Arizona called Anthology Inc. And that nonprofit makes the Mesa Book Festival every year. And most everyone knows me in my role as the communications director for the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. So it's interesting because a lot of people know that I do these things, but a lot of times these worlds don't intermix with each other. And so I thought when we wanted to do the tech conference or the tech expo today, I thought I wanted to bring those worlds together a little bit and kind of help some of our business community know that this is a tool for them to use in the course of their business. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to start with what we're going to talk about the ebook market first. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, what is ebooks? Like what's going on with ebooks? So about the ebook market. It's interesting because ebooks have a very strange history over the last 20 years in relation to what people expected of them and kind of what's really happened. So, as you can see, the share of Americans reading ebooks has seen an upkick from about 25% in 2019 to about 30% in early 2021. That number continues to kind of inch up, I think, as that technology continues to just become ubiquitous, whether it's through their phones, tablets, on their desktops. They're just getting more access to the concept of consuming ebooks in one form or another. Couple things that I did want to pull out, and this kind of sets the groundwork as to why a business owner or a professional might want to consider utilizing ebooks in their strategy. Um, Between 2017 and 2033, ebooks borrowed from libraries and schools worldwide more than doubled. So we're talking about 370 million ebooks were borrowed from libraries, and that um, I could almost do a whole separate webinar on the idea of digital copyright and all of that, but that's not what this webinar is about. So the idea here is that people are consuming more ebooks; they are becoming more prevalent. This is probably really where I kind of get to the meat of the matter here, which is that ebooks remain the most popular type of business to business content, with a 34.5% increase in usage in 2024. This is important. These next three slides really kind of help start to bring forward why our business community might want to consider engaging in the ebook market at some level. So they're the most popular format used by demand generation teams and marketing organizations, representing 39.5% of demand. So they are utilizing this popular content, this ebook content, as a way to get people interested in their products. In 2020, 55% of small businesses said ebooks had the highest conversion rate of all short form written content. So whether that's email, whether that's postal mail, short form written content. So content that's not very long, but still intended to sell whatever the product or services of the business. 55% of businesses were saying that ebooks had the highest conversion rate. So that's probably the one that I really kind of wanted to pull forward most to kind of set the stage for the discussion today, was that ebooks are a great tool in marketing. So we're going to talk now. I'm going to give you a very high level sort of overview of creating an ebook. So I'm kind of mixing a little bit about why you want to have ebooks and then the actual creation of the ebook itself. So please don't don't hesitate to reach out after if you have any questions or you just want to talk some more about it, because I know that this particular webinar isn't necessarily going to give you every single answer that you need. So I will put some of this information in the Proxima Emporium booth in the vendor hall. So you can get that there, or you can just reach out to me on email in the vendor hall, and I'm happy to talk with you in other capacities. So let's talk about why publish a book based on your business or industry. Why any business would consider it. There's a bunch of reasons. I grabbed four that I thought um, were important, and the first one that I grabbed, or actually the fourth one that I put on here, is actually one of the bullet points from the previous slide, which is 55% of small businesses at eBooks have the highest conversion rate. That's probably like dollars in pocket. The reason that a lot of businesses should consider creating some sort of an ebook around your business. But really, there's some other reasons too. The first one that I put on here was to establish thought leadership in your industry or build personal brand. You will know, those of you that have been to conferences, those of you that have been to presentations where the speaker does their thing, and at the back of the room they're selling books, right? Mark Perna comes to mind. He was a guest that the chamber hosted. Has a fantastic book. If you have a chance, look him up, Mark Perna. Um, but in a book to go with the thoughts and the ideas that he was conveying in the conference. So, future reference material. So, this is a great way to help your clients not need to call you back, right? Allow customers to have their own self guide repair guide or more information about your topic, product, or service that you sold them so that they don't necessarily need to keep coming back to you. Some cases that's great, right? You do want them coming back to you, but in some cases you kind of would like them to move along and grow on their own. And an ebook gives them a reference material that they can keep, that they can utilize in times where they might otherwise call you up and say, hey, how do I do XYZ? Companion sale. So customer can do a deeper dive into your industry or your content if you're providing a service by purchasing a book. And if they're doing that, then they purchase your book. That's an additional revenue source. Uh, it's pretty much straight ahead there. There are a bunch of other reasons that you might want to consider engaging in ebook publication for your business or whatever you're doing. Maybe even a hobby. This could apply just as easily to a hobby. If you just want to put something out about your hobby because you love doing XYZ and you want to talk to other people about it. Ebook is a great way to communicate that passion. So how do you build a book, right? I mean, that's kind of the next step, right? Most people are like, "Oh, write a book. I don't know how to do that." It's not as hard as you think. So, but here's how you get started. Before you ever start actually constructing the pages or the chapters or whatever your book's going to look like, think about the purpose of that book. Why are you going to make this book? Is it a companion sale into a product or service that you already offer? Are you just going to tell crazy stories from your experiences? Perfect example, and not necessarily crazy stories, but stories from a career. Uh, Trauma surgeon Bruce Davis wrote a book about some of the things that happened in the OR in relation to his career. I'll put the link to that in the Proximal booth, but not necessarily teaching you how to do trauma surgery, but sharing with you some of his experiences that he has had over time in his industry, which is a great way to kind of do a deeper dive on him and you get to know him a little bit. I know a lot of people that said that they found out that he had written the book while they were trying to see him as a physician, and they read the book before they went to him, and they realized that this was the guy that I want to be my physician because I read this book. So it's a great way for a deeper connection between you and a potential client. Collect that information. So this is probably the piece that most people dread, right? Doing the research, getting everything together. But get that together, and it's as simple as you're driving along and you're thinking of a story, or you're thinking you have a concept that you want to convey. Whip out your phone, hit the record button, and just talk to your phone. save it on your phone as an audio file. You can go back to it later and transcribe it, and then you can deal with it later and get it into a book format. It's super fast. It's super easy to get concepts recorded and laid down. Text to speech. Send yourself a text with the information that you're thinking about. Clip things, put things in a folder on your desktop. Make sure you're giving that information space for you to get to later. All before you ever sit down and actually start to construct that book. Give yourself that flexibility to kind of do that pre-work and kind of figure it out. It's also going to be part of your journey as a creator. You're going to start to realize that maybe this book wasn't what you originally thought it was going to be, and maybe it was going to be something else. That's all part of the creative process, but it gives you that breathing space and that flexibility to do it. The other is definitely consider professional support. If you are a busy executive and you don't necessarily have time to sit down on a regular basis and start writing things, consider things like a ghostwriter, where you actually just kind of hire somebody, you give them all the information, they will actually kind of draft the book for you and then go through it with you, and you can read it and make sure it's in your voice, or make sure it's the way you want it to be. You can also look for a book coach, and I will put some information on book coaches in the booth, but a book coach can kind of help you through that process of creating that book. They're kind of like your guide to kind of get you through that process, to get you from start to finish. There's some sites. I've got some sites here on the slide, but there's some other sites. So readsy.com is a good site for aspiring writers to get resources, not just necessarily ghostwriting, book coaching, that kind of thing, but illustrators, all aspects of the book creation process. And then of course Fiverr. A lot of people have heard of Fiverr as a way to kind of find freelancers that give them the flexibility to get things done. No shortage of book related talent on Fiverr. Um, this is probably, if you've given thought to creating a book, this is probably the biggest piece of advice that I will give you. Do not be afraid to pay for professional services like editing, layout, or creating your cover. And the reason that I say that is because if you are going to create this and put this out in the universe, you want it to be the best representation of you. You want it to be the best representation of your business. Don't be afraid to invest in that, to give that the best foot forward. Um, it depending on what the how deep the concept is, or how much there is, or I mean, it can price, but in the end, you're creating a much stronger product that people will engage with, and think of you as a professional if it is professionally created. So consider all of those things in the creation of your book. So getting that ebook made, there's a couple of tools if you're going it alone. There's a couple of great tools that I would throw out there. One is Microsoft Word. It's the oldest. I shouldn't say it's the oldest. It's not really the oldest. I think WordPerfect or something is older. WordStar. I think George R. R. Martin still writes on something from DOS for his Fire and Ice fantasy novels, um, which is kind of interesting, but he does. Anyway, Microsoft Word is a great way to start. It's ubiquitous; everybody has it. Um, it allows you to kind of organize everything, and it's gonna in for the purposes of this presentation, I kind of steer to a particular ebook creator, and Microsoft Word is the preferred format for that ebook creator, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. So, great way to get started, especially if you're text heavy. If what your topic is going to be a lot of text, Microsoft Word is basically that's what it was made for. So, if you start to find that you need illustrations, let's say you're going to do some instructional manuals, if you find you're going to start doing more illustrations, your layout's going to get more complex. You might consider a more professional tool such as Adobe InDesign. Uh, and that way you can kind of get exactly the look that you want out of the book. Um, Depending on your comfort level, using things like Photoshop or what have you. Um, Again, if you're like, what are you talking about? Go back to Fiverr, find someone that's got InDesign skills, and hire them to kind of help you through that. There are tools out there even like Canva. So Canva can help you. For those of you that are familiar with Canva for your graphic design, Canva has templates to make ebooks. So you can always check that out and see if that's something that you can make use of. One of the things that I would say that I probably didn't, I mean, I shouldn't say probably, I didn't put it in the slideshow, and I probably should have, but your content, your ebook does not need to be a massive undertaking. It does not need to be a huge book. It can be, the equivalent of a chapter. It can be short. It can be to the point. Depending on how you approach whatever topic, you can do. This is the freedom of this format, right? This can be as long or as short as you want it to be. So don't feel like you have to create something of a certain length in order to create something. You are free. This is your blank canvas. You can create whatever you want in any length that you want. So we're going to talk. I'm going to talk about Amazon as the example today because Amazon is one of the easiest ways for you to get from free book to book uh, and do it quickly. Um, Amazon has a service called Kindle. Many of you probably have a Kindle, or you read on Kindle, or you utilize a Kindle. And they have a separate website within the Amazon family that they use for publishing ebooks to their Kindle platform, and that is called Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP. You can see I put the URL here. It's kdp.amazon.com is the website. I'm actually going to switch screen share here in a second and show that to you so you can kind of see what's going on there. Um, you can make the book for free. Or you can make the book free. You can make the book for free. They don't ever charge you to create the ebook in Amazon. Or you can make the book itself free, so you don't have to charge any money for people to get it. Or you can actually charge for it if you're looking to build some sort of an additional revenue stream, or you're looking to build whatever you're looking to build. You can obviously, if you use the KDP platform, you can have the book for sale on Amazon.com for people to find it, which is great because Amazon controls really the vast majority of the ebook market, which I think is pretty well known at this point. They pretty much run they pretty much run the entire show. There are other options, and I'll talk a little bit about those later on in the presentation. But for the most part, if you're just getting started, Amazon's a great place to get started. So let me actually switch over right now. I'm going to switch over to Amazon because I want to show you a couple of things. So I'm zipping over here. Now we're over here to Amazon. I'm going to slide this over where, there we go. This is Amazon, and this is the Kindle store. You'll notice I'm saying Kindle store here. You can see it. I've done a quick search for plumbing, just as an example of ebook. These are all ebooks, by the way, that you're seeing, or Kindle books. Kindle is Amazon's particular brand name for ebooks. And you can see that, as you scroll through the choices here, there's all kinds of books on plumbing. Some of them are professional. Some of them are done by, in this case, I thought I said there was a Black and Decker one there. There's some nationally renowned publishers that create guides and things like that. And then you kind of get down here. You kind of get down here to basic plumbing for beginners, or Handy Andrew publishes a book on plumbing for beginners, right? So you have basically this wide open field that lets you publish your ebook. Pamela Brandel made a book for Women's Handbook for Home Repairs, right? So you can engage in the audience that you want using an ebook. Is basically the message that I'm trying to give you here. And it's not in this webinar, but you can see all kinds of information here in relation to, there's reviews, so you can kind of see the reviews that a book is getting. You can see obviously sales. So, oh, look, this book is is nothing if it's Kindle Unlimited. This book is $9.99 and so on and so forth. So pricing goes all over the map, of course. So this is like $3.99. This one is free. This one's 15. So you have this whole wide world out there for you to engage in. Um, and let me show you real quick. I'm going to show you the back end. So when you're creating an ebook, kind of how that works. And one of the things that I'm going to show you first is there are a lot of guides out there to help you if you want to learn how to publish a book. I'm going to show you one. This is on the Reedsy site. So this is reedsy.com, reedsy.com. And you can see how to publish a book on Amazon in 6 simple steps. I will put this URL in the booth. But you can publish a book very quickly, very simply, in, as it says, 6 easy steps. And it walks you right through it. And then you get to that point. Now, this is kind of where there's a point where you actually upload your book. Now, this is why I was talking about Word before, because when you upload your book, Kindle likes Word documents. So they will take that Word document and they will convert it to the ebook for you. So it's an easy way to do that. Simple, 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 right? You can also upload it as an EPUB file, but you do not have to. Um, and then of course it'll show you. So it gives you now Reedsy's going to say, hey, use our book writer, but you don't have to do that. It'll show you can actually go in and see the book before you finish what it would look like as an ebook. So now cover, it lets you upload a cover, which is great, right? And you can kind of keep going through that. So do you need an ISBN? This is a great ad. This is a great ad because it asks a great question. Do you need an ISBN number? No, you do not. Um, a lot of people will try to sell you one because they'll try and get you to think that you need one. You don't need one, especially on Amazon. Amazon will assign it their own barcode number. As Reezy says here, Amazon will assign one to you. You do not need a ISBN code. You can always buy your own if you do choose to do that, especially if you're a little more serious about creating something that you want as an additional revenue stream. You do probably want your own ISBN number because you're going to go to level 2 from here, which is creating paperback books and then taking it out with you and selling it on bookstores and stuff like that. But right now, basically, what I'm telling you is this: at this sort of level 1, you don't need an ISBN. But let me show you how an ebook is created with Amazon. So here, this is the page. This is when you log in. You create an account for your Kindle Direct Publishing. Now, if you have an Amazon account, so if you have your own Amazon account because you are an avid shopper, like I am, um, your first decision is, do I want to use that login for this service, or do I want to create a unique login that is for this service only? And the reason that I point that out to you is because once you have created this login, you will have to give it tax information and you will have to give it payment information. So if you're selling the books, they're going to want to know, where the money goes, how the money gets done, that kind of thing. So you want to make that decision early on. Am I going to just use my regular Amazon login, or am I going to create a special Amazon login just for this purpose? So just give that some thought before you actually take action. I have logged in here to the Brick Cave, actually, to the Brick Cave account, so you can see there's kind of what your books look like as they're sitting in the so they call it the bookshelf, and there's different formats. So you can actually there's ebook format, and there's a way to create audiobooks and paperbacks and hardcovers. So You can create all of those things over time as you go. But for the purposes of this webinar, we're going to focus on the ebook piece. So you have the ebook piece and you decide, oh, I want to create a new book. So you click on that button, or the button's right there. Gives you the choices. It says, hey, here's all the things you can do. There's an ebook. Okay, I'm going to create an ebook. So then that's going to pop you into, in essence, the 3-step process to create the ebook. So you pick the language, you get the title of your book, if your book is a part of a series. So a lot of people in the fiction world love fiction series, whether it's things like George R. R. Martin or what have you. But as a as a writer creating content in relation to your business, you might want to create a series of books. If you do that, you can actually tie them together so that as people discover one book in the series, it makes it easier for them to go through and get the other books in the series, because Amazon will know to tie those books together for you so that you know. It lets you designate an edition. So if over time you need to update the book because things have changed in the content, you can go in, you can edit it, and change the edition number. Of course, it lets you tell you who the author is, right? Tells you contributors. So your contributors can be, your editor, your forward, your illustrator, who does the introduction. Did you have a photographer that you want to recognize? Who does the preface? Was there a translator? Maybe you translated a book from another language or had someone translate your book into another language, and you want to give that person credit within Amazon. This is your description of your book, so you want to be very thorough. This is just like this has a lot of SEO components to it. So, in the same way that you would treat your website or your Google listing or anything like that, in using keywords, key phrases, things that really tie to your book. You want to do the same thing here. You want to use those keywords, use those subject matters, those ping words that you think people will use in relation to finding the content of your book. Tell Kindle or tell Amazon that you hold the rights and that it's yours to publish. Tell Amazon who your audience is, so it'll ask you if there's naughty things in your book. It'll ask you what the reading age of your book is. Kind of asks you, hey, is your primary place to sell this book Amazon.com, or is it another country? So you can pick any of the countries that Amazon has a website presence in to be the primary one. Choose your categories, which it shows you the categories. That tells me to answer the naughty question before I do that, but that's fine. Keywords now, there's a lot that goes around the keywords. You basically want to, again, this is high value language around your content. Things not necessarily that you know, but things that you think readers will type in to find this content. What do readers search when they're looking for this type of content? It's an important distinction because you're an expert, so you are deeply ingrained. You might put things in there that the readers would never think to put in there, in which case the readers would never ask for that. So be very cognizant of what you type in here and make that very much from the reader or the potential reader perspective. And then you just tell Amazon, hey, I'm ready to release my book now, or I want to do it for pre-order, which you can do, and it'll have you set a date if you need to. Next up is your content. I'm not actually going to be able to get to it because, well, maybe. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it because I didn't fill this out. But that's where you're going to upload the actual file. So you're going to have 2 files that you upload. One file represents the contents of your book. One file will represent the cover of your book. Your cover can be any number of different formats. Amazon has a cover creator built into this software. So if you don't have a cover in mind, you can actually go in and pick some art and pick some text and kind of design a cover as well if you don't have something made already. And then last will be pricing. That's where you're going to tell Amazon how much you're going to charge for it, whether that is nothing or you're going to charge a certain amount for it. And depending upon the amount that you charge, Amazon will pay you a certain amount of that price. So there are particulars to that again I could spend a lot of time going over with you, but I think it's a conversation for a different webinar in more details about book pricing and things of that nature. But once you do that, you submit it. Amazon will go ahead and check it. They'll make sure that there's no. They do look for AI, so there is an AI acknowledgement where you say either you did or you didn't use AI. And then once they accept it, they will go ahead and put it on sale here on the site where you can then link to it. So that's kind of the really rough overview of uh, Amazon's role in that. I'm going to zip back over to where am I going back to now? Going back over here. Going here. Okay, so we're going to go back over to the presentation. Um, and we're going to talk about what happens once the book is available. So once you've got this book, you got this book, right? And you've published it, and you don't know what to do with it. What are you going to do with it? Well, you can give it away. So you can basically you can buy codes if you're charging for it. You can buy codes, and then you can give those codes to people, and the people just use the code and they get the book for free. You can create marketing materials. So you can create QR codes that take them right to the page on Amazon where your book is to make it easier for them to buy it. You can link to it on your website. So your website can have a nice little link that says, hey, I've put out a book, buy it here. Or I put out a book, download it here. Uh, you can put it on all of your materials. I say job quotes because I'm still in the plumbing world. So um, you can take this QR code or you can take this reference and put it on your business documents. So anything that a potential client or a client would handle can have a reference to the fact that you now have a book that they can download. QR code is going to be the easiest because it's easy for them to just whip out their phone, take the shot, get the book. So keep that in mind. And then you can support it with live events. So kind of like I was talking about earlier, where you go to the presentation and the person's presenting, and based on the content of their presentation, they have written a book about it. You can go get it in the back of the room. You can do that as well. You can go out and maybe do a presentation on plumbing, talk about some of the deeper details of plumbing, and then tell people, hey, by the way, I got a book at the back of the room. You can buy this book on deeper plumbing. Just telling you. Just telling you it's available. Um, but really, just to be absolutely clear, Amazon's not going to market this book for you. So just choosing Amazon as the place to put the book does not guarantee you that the book is going to get in a lot of hands. You're going to have to do some elbow grease. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to get out there to get that book into people's hands. So just know that going in. Okay, what's the next steps? So you've created this book. Now your book's going out. Blah blah blah. And you decide I really like this. This is fun. I want to do more of this. Right? You can actually take it to the next level. So there's another level to this. There's more stores. You can put it on Amazon or Apple. Apple has an ebook store. Google has an ebook store. Barnes and Noble has an ebook store. And there's a bunch of others. And they're all over the world. And you can make your books available worldwide and kind of be cool when you find out that someone in Europe has purchased your book. You can turn that into physical books. So as I showed you in the Kindle, you can take the existing material and you can actually create a physical book out of it. So if you want to do something like give your clients a copy of the book for holidays, make it a holiday gift. You can actually have that printed, sent to you, and then you can just go ahead and send it to them as a thank you for being a customer this year. Here's a copy of my new book. Uh, there are a ton of other distribution options. So you can start to open it up to getting distribution in bookstores, and there's facilities to do that. Very facilities that are fairly similar to Amazon but different, and they allow you to get into independent bookstores or even Barnes and Noble, that kind of thing. Or if you really go kind of say, hey, I'm ready to like take this to the super next level, you could say, I might want to get an agent for a publisher. I want to be a celebrity in writing books on plumbing. So you can actually pursue that as the next level of what you do. And right now, one of the great things about the publishing industry is that the larger publishing organizations are looking at independent publishers to see which ones are successful, because they might want to pluck them and basically make money by saying, hey, why don't you come publish with us? We'll put some marketing money behind your book, and then you can tour, and we'll sell the copies and keep some of the money. A lot of the money, actually. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, that being said, there is like a level two. So there's a future if you decide to pursue this in a more vigorous manner. It's a lot of work. Just gonna tell you, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. So that is my very, very high level overview about why, as a business owner, you might want to consider putting ebooks into your marketing strategy, or building personal brand, or just getting content that you trust into the hands of people need trusted content. Because there is that too. You might be looking out at your industry and thinking there's a lot of misinformation out there. I need to get some information out there that I know is valid information that I know people can trust. So that might be another reason that you would want to do this. So I hope this gave you some insight. I hope this gave you some ideas of things that you want to consider in relation to using ebooks as a tool in your business. Um, Certainly feel free to visit the Proxima Emporium booth. You can visit us online, proximaemporium.com, and or you can just reach out to me. You drop me an email from the booth, and we can set up a time and talk in more detail. But thank you so much for taking the time to have survived this webinar today. Have yourself a very good rest of the uh, Technology Expo, and I hope to see you out and about.